Well, hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I was telling some people, my office is right over here at the fairgrounds, but the view from the golf course is extra spectacular. So what a great meeting place you have here. It's really great. Thank you again for having me. I'm so excited to tell you about 4-H, specifically here in Deschutes County, but I'll start with a little introduction to what 4-H is in case anybody is unfamiliar. 4-H is an extracurricular education program that focuses specifically on hands-on learning. A lot of times people think of 4-H as, it's those kids that bring animals to the fair. And that is correct, but we also do so much more. I have clubs all over the county that do things from leather work to sewing to cooking to raising animals and so much more. We also have programs across the state for a wide variety of different educational topics. We like to say if a kid wants to learn it, we'll make it happen. So we often get calls from kids that are interested in learning some obscure skill, and we do a pretty good job here in Oregon of connecting them with the right people to learn, even if we don't offer it here in 4-H. Let me tell you a little bit about what we do offer here in Deschutes County. We have 91 clover buds. So 4-H is an extracurricular education program for kids between the ages of 5 and 19 years old. However, before they are 9 years old, we really want them to be cautious. We don't let them work with animals at that age. So those are called clover buds. They're allowed to have bunnies and chickens and that kind of thing, but no large livestock. So there's 91 of those kids here in Deschutes County. We have a total of 539 enrolled members. That'll be our total for the year now that we are getting geared up for fair. Our enrollment has been cut off. That is up significantly from last year, so I'm feeling pretty good about the programs that we're going to be able to continue to offer. We also have over 100 volunteers. 4-H is really run by the volunteers. I help coordinate everything, but they are truly the workhorses of the organization. And they do so much for us, from teaching our kids to leading their clubs, taking them on different trips out of town to go to a judging contest or to a camp, and even chaperoning overnight at several different camps we offer throughout the year. We have 83 clubs here in Deschutes County. Not every single one of them will be at fair, but the large majority of them will have exhibits at our fair. Last year, we had over 3,300 entries across all different categories here at the county fair. And a good portion of those also move on to state fair and get to exhibit it in Salem a few weeks after the fair is over. 4-H has a little something for everyone. We have different day camps for our kids here in Deschutes County. We have Clover Bud Day Camp, which is for our Clover Buds to come and learn about what 4-H entails. This year, they got to do different soil sample testing. They got to learn about judging livestock and judging plants. And they got to do some lovely artwork using paints that they had made from stains of different objects that we had made into watercolor paints. That was a really fun day. And then we have junior days as well, which is for our junior members. That's our next step up in age. And it's just another little introduction into 4-H. And we get a little bit more into the different aspects of the 4-H program. Kids on those days come and do presentations, which is, we have a presentation contest every year for our kids in the county. So they get just a little taste of what it's like to present in front of people. They also gave a set of reasons during that day. That was very fun to teach them how to give reasons. If you've ever judged livestock or anything else, you may have given a set of reasons before. We also have overnight camps all throughout the state. Some ones that we really have our hands in here in Deschutes County are Camp Tumbleweed, which is for 3rd through 5th graders. And it's a week-long camp where they come and we learn so much during that week. They did bird watching. They learned how to make lanyards for themselves. They learned a little bit about survival and wilderness first aid. And mostly they developed their leadership skills. We really like to start them young on those soft skills. We also have questing clovers. Excuse me. I'm a pretty huge fan of the Questing Clovers camp. It was one of the very first things I did in this job was help out with that camp. And that camp is for what we call the non-traditional 4-H'er. Kids that maybe don't feel like they fit in 4-H. we kind of welcome them in with open arms and spin 4-H in a little bit of a different way for them. So we're not doing leatherworking, we are making a trinket pouch for you to carry around your little trinkets in. We're not learning sewing, you're learning how to make a cosplay costume that you can show off in our contest later that day. All kinds of things like that that we just kind of spin a little bit differently for those kids that maybe thought they weren't interested in 4-H and didn't realize all we had to offer. We also have several leadership retreats coming up here very soon at the end of the month, this summer conference, where kids get to go to campus for a week and do different workshops and leadership trainings, and they speak to guest speakers, they get to tour campus and speak to current students. It's a really great way for kids to kind of picture themselves in college before they get there. They get to stay in the dorms and eat in the dining halls and everything. And then we also have our High Desert Leadership Retreat. That happens here in Deschutes County in January. We stay over at Eagle Crest. We rent out a bunch of the houses that they have there, and the kids kind of get a little taste of playing house for the weekend. They have a budget, we take them to the store, and they purchase food for the house for the weekend, and they make all of their own meals. So it's really interesting to see which houses decide to buy what, because we don't give them a lot of direction. We had one house of girls who had this meticulously planned meal plan for the weekend. Salads, there was a vegetable with every meal. They had brought recipes. They were very excited. They baked every night. And we had boys who bought 4 steaks and top ramen. That's what they ate for the weekend. So we really let them experience what it's like to have a limited budget and decide, okay, I gotta feed us for 3 days. How am I gonna do that with this money? They also do different leadership workshops. I taught meets evaluation at a High Desert Leadership Retreat this past year. We also had a jiu-jitsu class. We had floral arranging, we had fly tying, we had all kinds of fun stuff at HDLR this year. Coming up soon, as we mentioned, is the Deschutes County Fair. That's really the culmination of their projects for the year. That happens the last week of July, and the livestock auction is the very first Saturday in August. Kids bring projects in all different areas to fair to exhibit what they've worked on for the past year. In order to submit those exhibits, they have to show us their records of what they have purchased to put into that project, if they've sold anything, what skills they have gained throughout the year, and all the different ways that they have exhibited or learned about their project. And then they're allowed to enter their project in the fair, and it's displayed for the week. And we love when kids come and hang out near their exhibits and talk to the public about what it is they've learned and how they developed whatever it is that they've developed. We have some really neat things coming to fair this year. I have a quail project that will be in our static building. That is a brand new thing for Deschutes County. We've never had quail before, so I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants, but I told them absolutely you can bring your quail to fair. So that's going to be really fun. We also have animals in every single barn. We have a completely separate horse fair that takes place 2 weeks before the county fair that is specifically for our horse projects, and they get to come and have a full show put on by 4-H with real judges from around the state to give them feedback and learn more about how they can ride better, how they can have a better project. We also have kids who come to fair and they interview for many different scholarships that we have to offer. It's a great opportunity for the sponsors of the scholarships to get to walk around the barns and actually see the kids in action. You know, it's one thing to hear a kid tell you, yeah, I've taken care of this calf since it was 8 months old, I've washed it every day, I've fed it twice a day, I've done all these things. It's another thing entirely to see that kid put that calf on a halter and walk it around like it's a dog, that they've clearly worked with so hard that they've taken this potentially wild animal and turned it into one that will follow them around. I was inspired to take this job because I did 4-H when I was growing up. And my very first project was some meat goats. And boy, let me tell you, they were well loved, but I don't think they were very good meat projects because they were darn fat by the end of it. But I learned a lot from that project, and I eventually moved on to showing hogs, and I showed one pig before I said enough of that as well, and then I ended up raising cattle for the rest of my 4-H and FFA career. By the end of it, I'd sold 8 market steers, and I had a great experience there. So I'm honored to be able to bring that experience to kids in this county as well. Another large part of what we do in 4-H are skills and knowledge contests. These are where kids get to come and really show their stuff of how much they've learned in 4-H and how much knowledge they have about various things, from livestock to we have a food and textile skills contest, so many different things. All of those culminate at a statewide contest where they can qualify for nationals. So this year, Deschutes County is actually sending 3 teams to nationals, which is in Louisville, Kentucky, in November. We've never sent 3 teams before, so this is a huge honor, and I'm so proud of those kids for working so hard to win state so that they can represent us at the national level. Deschutes County, we're sending 3 teams. That's 10 kids and between 6 to 10 chaperones, depending on if we need male chaperones, if another parent wants to come, that sort of stuff. It will take place over several weeks in Louisville, so we rent out a house during that time, and the kids kind of come and go as their contest takes place. Last year, we sent just 1 team, and it was a hippology team, which is the study of horses, and they were actually top 10 in the nation for that contest, and we're very, very proud of them there. Sending kids to nationals is an extremely expensive endeavor. That is something that we're really focused on here this summer. Other than fair, it costs about $15,000 per team to send them back there to Louisville. So the kids are doing all kinds of fundraising projects. Keep your eyes out. They're going to be selling t-shirts and stickers at the fair. They are going to be volunteering their time for donations to clean out stalls for the different barns at fair this year. They have lots of different fundraiser ideas that they are getting going here, and we're very excited to have them represent us at the national level. That's just a little taste of what we do here in Deschutes County in 4-H. Can I answer any questions or tell you more about something in particular? I'll start right here.
So I've noticed that the take in the livestock auction, or the purse, has increased dramatically. Is that because there are more animals exhibited, because the public is more generous, or a combination thereof?
You know, I think it's a combination thereof. There's a lot of community support here in Deschutes County, and the more that we have community members come out and support a kid, I think the word kind of spreads that it's not this huge, complicated deal to go buy an animal at the auction. I mean, you can buy a chicken if you want to support, but you don't have a ton of money to donate to a kid. There's lots of ways to do it. And so our lovely community sponsors have really, I think, inspired our community to take part in that livestock auction as well.
Well, story about chickens. I used to work the ring with the Hodeckers, and one time this cute little girl came out with her little red wagon and her 3 chickens, and they went for $65 a pound.
Yeah.
Wow. She made more than some of the kids with their pigs.
Oh yeah.
So be careful about the chicken.
It's true. It's by the pound. It's not the total. We've had people make that mistake.
Yeah, just following that down in Amador County in California when I was down there. There were a number of sponsors and many businesses. There were a pair of rabbits that the bidding war went for $3,000 for 2 rabbits. So I don't know what the per pound was, but it was significant. Also, we had the leadership group that comes here, sometimes come and be part of our election meeting. Is that a possibility again, or does that?
My youth leadership team, absolutely, they can come be part of it. Like we mentioned a little bit earlier, I think today and maybe tomorrow are their last days of school. And so I did ask if they could come with me, and they said we could do it the next week. But absolutely, they would love to come talk to you guys.
Kids from all over the state? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we have state ambassadors as well. So we have a leadership team here in Deschutes County, and then they can move on to be state level ambassadors. And we actually have one candidate that is moving on to the state level, and she's going to rock it. She got to go talk to our state representatives earlier this year when we were facing a budget crisis, and really talk to them about how much 4-H has impacted her life. And I think it made a huge difference. So we're very proud of her.
The 4-H kids out here showcasing unique animals. back home it's all pretty, where I'm from in Montana, a lot of beef and sheep. I see there's llamas out here. I see there's a couple interesting more livestock varieties. You also, did the kids service that?
Yeah, totally. So we have all the usual suspects of beef, sheep, goats, swine, rabbits and chickens and turkeys, but we also have KVs, so guinea pigs. We have a little section of our kids that showcase their guinea pigs. They call them KVs when they are technically for meat. Those are not sold at the auction. They are not actually consumed for meat, but they're raised like they are. We also are going to have a quail project come this year that I'm very excited about. We have llamas and alpacas. We have one exhibitor who will be bringing pigeons to the fair, and I'm fascinated to see how that works. I've heard that they tie a string to them, and then they're tied to you, so they can't fly away while they're being shown. I think that's about it as far as more exotic animals. We do have kids who bring their reptile projects, and those those live in our static building where the 4-H office is, and I'll just say the 4-H office is on one end and the snakes are on the other.
Thank you.
Yes.
How do you interface, if you do, with the FFA?
So where I grew up in California, 4-H and FFA butt heads. They butt heads hard. And I've never liked that. I think, we have the same goal. At the end of the day, we want these kids to learn and learn by doing. So I have really worked hard to strengthen the partnership we have here in Deschutes County with our 2 FFA chapters in Bend and Redmond. And I think we work together very well. They help with our pre-fair weigh-in. We get all their entries in for fair. We work together pretty well, in my opinion. I'm also a big fan of them. I think they do a great job of turning out good kids here. So, yeah.
Were you an FFA officer?
I was an FFA officer,
I
yes.
can tell you're speaking.
Yeah.
Well, one of the byproducts of going through FFA is being a phenomenal speaker. You're doing very well. I did have a question. The proposed ballot measure IB 28, is kind of a unique situation this year with 4-H and FFA. Has that been a topic of discussion at some of your meetings?
It certainly has. I've heard a lot from our community about that, and I think there'll be a lot of advocacy done through 4-H regarding that proposition. It would, as you are all, I'm sure, aware, severely impact the agriculture industry, and as a result, our 4-H and FFA members would make it virtually impossible for them to have animal projects, and that would destroy a large part of our program. So yes, there's been many discussions. We are very concerned.
Okay. So are we.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I really miss what we used to go to the church and help out. Miss the cattle mostly. Didn't miss the pigs much.
Yeah.
They're too smart for their own good.
Well, and they smell, and that smell sticks to you, like beef cattle does not. So.
You're a way to close that.
Yes.
Is there any chance of Kiwanis taking a larger hand than Joe?
Well, for county fair, we hire professional judges and we pay them a pretty penny. But for
Judging, but, support, maintenance, and all that.
absolutely, we would love for you guys to come and help support in any way that you are willing to. We are going to have a fairgrounds cleanup day prior to county fair. We also have lots of other opportunities. I'm not sure what you guys would be willing to work with us on, but I would love to work with you and we can discuss. Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but historically, this club used to help run the fair,
Really?
or run the auction. And Carl, you might speak to it better than I do, but we used to weigh the animals. We were there every day for a week, right?
We ran that auction more than 50 years.
Wow.
Todd's father, Dr. Bob, was the first chairman of the Kiwanis Livestock Auction Committee.
And he wasn't a party.
I know our auction committee is always looking for more members of the community to come and participate, especially around the auction and around fair. We have a large buyer's barbecue that they put on. If you're a buyer for the auction, you get to come and have a barbecue dinner, and they're always looking for help there. But As far as during the fair, of course, I would love to have you guys come and help out with all of that kind of stuff. We are always in need of hands. Yes?
You know, we also found that it took 3 Kiwanis roughly to stop every kid coming down the chute, and big sixers, because they were linebackers at 220 to 240 pounds.
You know, we didn't have any hogs get loose at weigh-in this year, at pre-fair weigh-in, but we did have a calf get loose, and he ended up being chased around the fairgrounds by some students on a truck that none of us saw, and that one of those FFA kids eventually ended up jumping off of the vehicle and taking him down. So that was, I hear, pretty epic.
Rodeo style.
Rodeo style, exactly. And you know what? The calf came back to the scale, so.
Where are the animals, when we were there, when we were helping with load out the next day after the fair, a lot of them were going to Fresno. Or do they still go to Fresno?
They do not go to Fresno anymore. It's really a matter of where we can get a large enough processor to take the number of animals that we have. And so I think we outgrew the processor in Fresno. That's actually where I grew up, so I'm familiar with that processing plant. We've outgrown that processing plant here in Deschutes County. We actually take our hogs to a facility in Orland, California now, up in Northern California, and they're really the only ones in the area that can handle the volume that we have. Other than that, I think our beef goes up to Washington, and our other livestock stay fairly local, at least in the state.
And then how do you register for an add-on? If you may not want to buy an animal, but you want to do an add-on for a particular, we always get kids that come by and drop off, hey, I'm selling my animal, and we may not want to buy the whole animal, but maybe we want to do an add-on. How do you register for that?
Absolutely. So first of all, if a kid is asking you for an add-on, they should be including the instructions. But I will tell you how to do it. You can show up at the auction and you can register and do an add-on there. You can also call in to our office and we can get that arranged for you. There's also a form you can fill out that can be sent in your stead to the day of auction, and we can invoice you and all of that good stuff. Yes?
What do we know about nationals? The 6 to 10 kids, the teams that Mike had.
How they did or if they're going?
How they did. Obviously, they need to get in, but when will we know after the event?
It's usually like during the event. They do an awards ceremony right at the end of it, and the kids get to trade pins with all the kids from all over the country, and they get their awards right then and there.
November?
It will be November, yes. Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Some of us attend the Redmond concerts over the year, and this year at least, it's the young people there from 4-H are a dozen or so kids from 6 years old to maybe 12 or 14, and they all raise pigs.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about. Do they have a lock on that particular ceremony?
No, they do not. I think that's just a swine club that has worked with the facilitators, and it's an ongoing fundraiser for them. I think it's West Side Swine Club that comes and does that particular fundraiser. Yes, it is one club that does that. Yes.
No.
Not a wine club, a swine club.
Roland wanted to join.
They make great cookies.
That's wonderful. That's great.
Did you say, apologize if you said already, but roughly how many animals come through the fair?
It really varies, and we won't know for this year until they do their entries, but I had approximately total animals altogether, probably around 500 or 600 by the time you count all the horses and the poultry and everything there. Yeah. It's a significant amount, yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you for all you do.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me.